Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Writing Tips with me. I'm an indie author. My name's Daniel Tighe, or D.P.Tighe if you want to go check any of my books out on Amazon. Not the greatest known, but I'm here to hopefully give some tips. Yeah, just tips. I'd say tricks, but there is no real tricks. Just helpful advice that I've learned along the way. So I've been writing since I was 7 years old, so I've acquired about 23 years of writing. Obviously, you pick up a lot reading other authors as well. Right. Now, in the last video I did, which you don't need to watch, you can watch these at any point at all, but that was touching on character creation from female. We made a female character, just the basic base model of a female. And the reason I did this is because we are going to use her right now. Where, in fact, I'm going to develop an intro for her in a horror scene, and I'm going to record it whilst I'm writing it and hopefully try and go through it. I don't have no idea how this is going to go, but let's just get right into it. Give me a moment and I'll adjust the camera. Now, as you can see here, we have from last time we made Janet, which is fine. About to just actually give myself a quick memory jog because it was a few days ago and I've worked some night shifts. Yep. Alright. So then, let's put our very stern, snappy and egotistical woman into a nice horror situation. Now, when it comes to writing an intro, if you're unable... Oh, camera's a bit fuzzy there. If you are unable to grip your readers within the first couple of paragraphs, it's usually a no-go. Sometimes it can be really slow burners, but other times not so much. What I'm going to do here is, because obviously I can't talk and think and write at the same time, I think that would be absolutely impossible for me to do. So I'm going to write a bit now, and then I'm going to record, and I'm going to go through it and through it and through it. Usually to write about 4 or 5 pages in my notebook takes me about an hour roughly. It's about an hour if it's uninterrupted, which I'm in a house full of noise. It's horrendous for getting anything done as a writer. Absolutely horrendous, especially kids, animals, you name it. So I'm going to start writing the intro and I'll be right back. Right, so now I have written what would be my first paragraph. Personally, I find it a bit dull at this point, which is fine. It's on paper. I like to do all my basic as can be in notepads. They're brilliant, because when you get it written down, and believe me, I think this is garbage right now. I honestly do. I think it's really bad. But when I go to then type it up and I go into fleshing it out, suddenly it feels better, it plays better, or I've had so much time to think about it that I have other ideas that I can then shove into this and shove into this. The only bad thing is I write in pen, so it makes it hard to, try not to make mistakes. If I usually make a mistake, I'm usually scribbling along here. Right, into the first bit that I have wrote. I will read it out so you can see that it's not the greatest. Right. Car radio blaring, trying to keep her awake, Janet sped down the main road in a hurry to get home. Finishing a night shift, packing food boxes, was not so much grueling, it was beneath her. Hating it with a passion, and the bags it created under her eyes, Janet couldn't figure out how someone with a veterinarian qualification was stuck in a damn food packing job. The thought alone caused her to smash her hands off the steering wheel. She also sped up, approaching 50 in her 30 zone. Now, I've created a bit more, I've fleshed her out a bit more here than what I did do before. She's feeling the job's beneath her. I mean, a food packing job is usually beneath anybody, to be fair. It's for cash. But the also fact that I've added in now that she's a qualified vet. But if we remember, she's also an egotist. So we could touch up on this later, that she actually lost a job, that she just didn't even care for the animals. I can go into all sorts and many aspects. We can make this woman a real piece of, yeah. But we can make her a real piece of thingy, but how the story will play out should keep people entertained. Usually, if you hit the main character, you're just panning off. I want to see if we can already hate the main character from the off and still keep the story going and intriguing. So this is my first one. Right now we've got her speeding up and she's dangerously ready for a crash. She's worked a night shift. She's speeding up. It's early morning. 15 of her is on. Is never a good idea. When I finish a night shift, I always drive under the speed limit, because if I crash, it's not going to be so bad. But usually the roads are empty. But still, if I just steer off in the wrong direction, yeah. Right, I'm going to take another quick pause here, and I'll do a little more, and then we'll see where we're at. Oh, if you ever have one of these at home, this is another reason why you can't get any writing done. Say hello, Uma. Yes, Joy, just stall over me whilst I try and write. No, go away. Right, so that's a kitty gone, and we have a more of a fleshed out story approaching here. So this I felt was a little bit better. It sets a much better scene, much better area. Yeah, we just get that Janet is a real SOB. So I'm going to continue from where I last read. So foot down and speed rising, Janet had no choice but to slow down. Ahead were several black police cars with blue lights blocking the road. Behind them, as Janet drove slower, was two smashed up cars and an ambulance. Grinding her teeth as two officers approached her car, Janet pushed the button to wind down her window. "Sorry, ma'am, there's been a crash here. You'll have to turn back around," said the tall black-haired officer dressed in a yellow high-vis. "I can see that," snapped Janet. "This is the only road to get me home." She glared at the two officers. "How long will this take to shift?" she asked. "Well, ma'am, one more ambulance is needed, and I'd say a few hours," continued the nearest officer. "Hours?" raged Janet, as she began to foam at the mouth. Ignoring the police, Janet got her GPS up and put on a reroute to her home. There was one other road, a disused and an abandoned road. It had been that way since Janet could remember. And now we have a little bit of mystery to the story that I've incorporated. We know it's going to be a horror. I roughly know the idea in my head of what is going to happen, and it will probably take a good four or so more pages for me to get there and start instilling the fear. But as intros go, it's not great, but it's okay. I can definitely flesh this out to make it a lot better when I type it up, and I'll work out fleshing and stuff in a later tips video. For now, I'm going to be writing several chapters and just basically teaching people writing tips for this. But intros are never a thing I usually suffer with. Nor do I suffer with flash fiction. Flash fiction is brilliant to get your imagination racing, and I might touch upon that in another writing tip. But this is the intro, and literally all I've done is I've added a hook. You've got to try and get something in. The hook is the mystery. She's now got to go down this disused road. The fact is that I could lose readers with the first two paragraphs, but with the speeding, it makes them a little curious. They know she's not very nice from the first, well, I think she's not very nice from the first paragraph. But with the speeding, it adds a little, is she going to crash sort of thing. It's going to be clear from, if I made this into an actual book, it would be clear from the picture of the cover of the book that it would be horror. So immediately picking up, they're going to think, car crash. Obviously not, but somebody else has crashed, and then that leads on to the mystery. So here's hoping that the hook works. When I flesh it out, it'd be much better. It'd be a much painted scene. This is bare bones. And I hope that helps any. It doesn't matter what you write as long as you get something down. If you're able to get something down, especially on paper, if not on paper, even on a PC. I like to go paper to PC, and then I do several more drafts on the PC, so I'll usually go through it, and go through it, and go through it, and go through it. But when you transfer from written to PC, it transforms. It really does transform the story. It's so much better. And with that, I'm going to cut this here. Thank you for tuning in. If it helped at all, please give a like, please subscribe, or listen or watch my other videos as well. I'm doing audio on the Warden. It's a very old edition book, so it's filled with grammatical mistakes. It's annoying the hell out of me reading it because it's filled with so many grammar errors. And I don't have a copy of the newest edition laying around because I think my kids smuggled them and done God knows what with them. My daughter loves reading all my work, especially Avillion. Avillion is mad in our house. Anyway, again, thank you for tuning in. Take care.